Hello everyone and welcome on De Papier de Rêve channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be painting with you some cyclamens. This video today is a second attempt to paint cyclamens. I've tried it already a few days ago and I filmed it also, so you can expect a bonus video next week. I wanted to paint it a little bit different than my first one and with a little bit more feeling and atmosphere to it. So that's what I'm doing today. And in this video I'm also trying some new supplies. As you can see, I have a new brush in my hand and I'm working also on a new paper that I've never tried before. And I will tell about them a little bit later. So for my first layer, I've started with a wet paper because I wanted to have my color merge into one another quite a lot. I want a very soft background for this painting, and I want also quite dark colors around the flowers of cyclamens. So right now you cannot tell that I'm painting cyclamen because I'm really focused on making a nice background to it, but I will add some details a little bit later. I don't think that you can tell on videos that I'm working on different papers than I'm used to. This paper is very thick. It weighs 640 GSM. So it's the double of what I'm used to, and it's really a nice paper to paint with because you can add a lot of moisture onto it and it's not moving at all. It's almost like painting on a cardboard. The paper is quite firm and yeah, it's not buckling at all, and I think it's a really nice paper to paint with because everything glides very smoothly onto it and there is no puddle anywhere because the paper is totally flat. So right now on my paper there is quite a lot of colors. I'm using a violet, an indigo, some nickel azo yellow, and I'm adding right now a little bit of rose madder lake just to add some feeling into this background. But I need to work a little bit more details into it because right now you cannot tell that I'm painting cyclamens, but that's all good. I will add details in other layers. So I will let this layer dry totally before starting another layer. So in this second layer I will start by adding some leaves into the painting, and for that I'm using a mix of indigo and nickel azo yellow, and I'm using quite a lot of nickel azo yellow because I want the leaf to be quite green in some area, and as it's a transparent color you will see always a background underneath, so there will be a lot of indigo coming through this layer of nickel azo yellow. So I'm starting by adding the light colors first, and I'm trying to get the shape quite distinct from one another with a small line between every shapes, and I will blur that line a little bit later with darker color, but I want that just to give the paint some time to sink a little bit into the paper and not move as much and not be so much blurry a little bit later. And with the work on leaves and a little bit later with the flower, I can see that this brush that I'm using today, which is new, is a really good brush. It's a synthetic air brush, so it has a little bit more snap to it. It will come back to the original shape a little bit easier than with natural hair, but it can contain a lot of water into it, and that's a very interesting brush for watercolor painting. And you can see right now that I'm able to have some really fine lines, but in the first layer and when I was painting the leaves, you can see that I can just paint a larger area with it without taking too much water, going back to my palette really often. So it has every quality I'm looking for in a brush, so that's good. I've painted the stem first for all this flower, but as it has not had time to dry, when I add the flower on top of it, it merged a little bit with the stem underneath, and it gave a nice feeling of attachment between the flower and the stem, and I like that a lot. And it's really easy to paint this kind of shape of petals and leaves with this brush, because it's so soft, and you can just make the leaves and the petal in one brush strokes, and it's really a nice brush to work with. I will let this layer dry totally before adding some details, and I will talk you through my supplies. For the brushes, I'm using a Princeton Neptune 8 and a silver brush black velvet 1/4 inch. For the colors, I'm using Nickel Azure Yellow, Rose Madder Lake, Indigo, and Isaro Purple Deep. And my paper today is from Arches in cold pressed, and of course 640 GSM. For the third and last layer, I want to focus my work on details and adding a little bit more depth to the painting and contrast to it in order to allow my subject to pop a little bit more. So I'm adding some fine lines into the leaf, and I will do the same into the petals of the flower in order to give a little bit more texture into it and interest into this area. But I also want to add some darker color around the leaves so that they appear a little bit more bright against the dark background. And for that I'm using a mix of indigo and Nickel Azure Yellow always, but with a lot more of indigo in order to get a really darker paint into it. And I'm just painting around the leaf in negative painting technique, and it allows me also to refine a little bit the shape of the leaves and make it a little bit more interesting too. This painting was really nice to paint. Everything felt quite easy. I remember the first try I've done that you will be able to see in a few days. I was battling with my subject and everything was going a little bit wrong, but it has also a nice feeling into it. You will see that a little bit later, but I'm really happy for this painting to be so easy, and everything was going really well, and that's thanks to the paper, I think, and also this new brush. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like it. Please check the blog post for more information about it, and tell me what you think in the comments. See you soon.